Welcome to this explainer. Look around you. If you're using a computer, a smartphone, or honestly, even one of those smart fridges, you are completely relying on the cloud. But what does that actually mean for the hidden security risks lurking in the software we use every single day? Well, let's unpack it. Okay, here's our roadmap for today. First, defining cloud computing. Then, the rise of SaaS. Next up, security and privacy risks, followed by the issue of control, and finally, securing the SaaS cloud. All right, let's jump right into section 1, defining cloud computing. To really understand the risks here, we have to define the environment itself, and we're going to use the authoritative baseline from the National Institute of Standards and Technology, or NIST. Now, according to them, the cloud isn't some invisible magic. It's just a model for convenient, on-demand network access to a shared pool of computing resources. We're talking servers, storage, apps. It's kind of like renting a fully furnished apartment instead of, building a house from scratch. You just show up, turn the key, and use the amenities. Think of this as a sliding scale of control across 3 main models. With infrastructure as a service, IaaS, you're still managing the operating systems and the apps. But as we slide all the way over to software as a service, or SaaS, the consumer manages almost nothing. You don't control the network, you don't control the servers, you literally just use the application. And that totally hands-off approach brings us to Section 2, the rise of SaaS. SaaS has caught on like wildfire, and it makes total sense why. It completely wipes out those complicated old-school software installations. You just open a web browser, pay your monthly fee, and boom, you're in. You don't need to buy expensive hardware, and you definitely don't need a dedicated IT team frantically managing updates in the background. The provider handles the whole shebang. And the financial reward for these providers is absolutely massive. Worldwide SaaS revenue has skyrocketed, and projections show it hitting a staggering $374.5 billion by 2028. I mean, to put that in perspective, organizations are just flooding into this model because it scales effortlessly, slashes costs, and is incredibly easy to use. But wait, there's a catch. Let's move to Section 3, security and privacy risks. Because all that convenience, it comes at a pretty steep price. So here is the million-dollar question you have to ask yourself. You've outsourced the headache of managing the infrastructure, sure, but is your data actually safe? Did you just outsource your security too? There's this really fascinating research from the International Journal for Multidisciplinary Research, and it points out a glaring flaw. The centralized nature of these servers makes them irresistible targets. Think about it. When thousands of companies store all their sensitive data with one single provider, that provider essentially becomes a giant honeypot for cybercriminals. And the researchers laid out some critical vulnerabilities tied to this exact setup. Because everything is stored remotely and zipping across the internet, you're looking at severe data breaches. You've got unauthorized access, usually from super weak authentication. Plus, there's the very real nightmare of data loss from attacks or even just accidental deletions. Add in widespread security misconfigurations and rampant identity theft, and, well, it's a lot to worry about. Which brings us to the root of the problem. Section 4, the issue of control. Free software advocate Richard Stallman actually hits the nail on the head here. He argues there's a deep philosophical and really practical flaw with SaaS. You are entirely surrendering visibility. You don't have the code. You have no idea what that program is actually doing with your data behind closed doors. And if it doesn't work the way you want, tough luck. You can't change it. And you know what's crazy? Stallman's critique lines up perfectly with that official NIST baseline we talked about earlier. Their own documentation explicitly states that users generally have zero control or even knowledge of where their data physically lives. Your company's most sensitive information could be on a server down the street or, sitting in a data center halfway across the globe. You just don't know. And let's take that a step further. Because your data lives on their servers, your fate is tied to their business. What happens if that SaaS vendor suddenly goes bankrupt? Getting your own data back can turn into an absolute logistical nightmare. Your data could be locked away on servers you have no legal, actually scratch that, you'd have no legal or physical access to them. Okay, take a breath, don't panic. Let's look at Section 5, securing the SaaS cloud. Let's talk about how to actually defend your network. Here is your blueprint for defense. To fight off breaches, you absolutely need strong encryption, both for data sitting still and data moving around. plus regular security audits. To stop unauthorized access in its tracks, multi-factor authentication is non-negotiable, along with role-based access control. That's just a fancy way of saying employees should only have access to the specific data they need to do their jobs. Oh, and regular backups and disaster recovery plans, that's your safety net. But what about your personal privacy? To protect against identity theft, the research recommends a layered approach. You encrypt personal data, you use data anonymization, and you implement differential privacy techniques. Differential privacy is really cool. It basically lets platforms analyze huge, broad trends in data without ever being able to pinpoint you as an individual user. And here's the thing, doing this isn't just a nice to have anymore. It's the law. Strict frameworks like GDPR in Europe and the CCPA in California make this mandatory. If SaaS providers don't comply, they're looking at massive fines and legal trouble. But more importantly, being completely transparent about how they handle data is the only way these companies can maintain our trust when we're the ones giving up control. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a quick thought exercise. Look at the web apps you have open on your computer or your phone right now. We all love the convenience and the low cost of SaaS, for sure. But ask yourself, who is actually holding the keys to your data? And what safeguards are they really using to protect it? Keep asking those questions and always demand transparency. Catch you next time.